Way galaxy, invading Earth. Because Earth, I illegally crossed from 3i Atlas onto Earth into the United States. Woot woot. Hello, hello, interesting stream. Talk to the fellas forever. I swear, I feel like I'm getting shadow banned. I feel like I'm getting shadow banned for show. Because like it seems it's the game board I'm gonna be working on. I'm gonna do our little epic skill warfare. Me and my boy have this right here. Split the board in the middle. You feel? Jaw feel? Jaw feel? So it's gonna be the next game board. Hutch is back to his regular programming. I saw that. I guess they had a pretty badass harvest party. From what I gather, from what it looked like. Hey, what up, Auntie Esther? For sure, for sure. Yeah. You've been watching me for a while and you requested that, so I'm gonna have to go along with the requests. What are you getting into today? Yeah, that Dimension X is pretty good. I won't be able to do any for a while to November 11th because my StreamYard lapsed over, kinda, so because you only get 20 hours, I think. I guess, yeah, it says 20 hours a month, which is definitely not enough if someone's wanting to stream a lot. But I guess if you want to stream every day and use all the good stuff that they give you, you're going to have to use have to pay a little bit for it. I'm not necessarily down for wanting to pay for it 100%. Unless if it went back to being 25 again, that'd be one thing. No. Raising the price of StreamYard whenever. They did a couple months ago. Everything's weird now. It's all weird. I heard this FBI, the steal in Michigan, I heard was, didn't even happen. I guess it was supposed. I mean, it's still an ongoing story. It's only a couple days old, but from what I've been gathering, it was all a bunch of BS. You know? Mm-hmm. Which I wouldn't doubt. If if you know our history good, we know about Gulf of Tonkin incident. We know about World War II. You know, with Pearl Harbor, we knew that. I guess it was a week, 1 week to 2 weeks ahead of time. We knew that the Japanese were planning on some kind of little funky invasion. Yeah, and Gulf of Tonkin, another incident. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. So, a little background story. At that time in 1964, 1963, I think it was 64. Might have been 63, late 63, late 64 in that time range. The United States Navy, the Pacific Command, the leader, the admiral of the Pacific Navy for the United States was Jim Morrison's dad. And his name escapes me. I just know it's Jim Morrison's dad. So whenever the Gulf of Tonkin incident happened, which was a U.S. merchant ship off the coast of Vietnam, they blew their own ship up, according to GTA 6, according to conspiracies. But it has been proven as truth, though. The Gulf of Tonkin, this merchant vessel off the coast of North Vietnam, just blows up out of nowhere. Next thing you know, a couple weeks later, we're going into war with Vietnam. Really, America's first forever war. For sure. We was there for 10 years. It was a war of crazy attrition. Obviously, anybody who's in chat that might have been there lived through that. What up, Dave? Chilling. Just chilling. Literally cold. But Vietnam that's guerrilla warfare. That was psychological warfare. From what I was researching and what I've seen and watched, a lot of that fighting in Vietnam, it was mostly them trying to hunt the NVA and the Viet Cong. But as the Viet Cong and VA, they was leaving out traps and little, them little punji sticks from up the ground, all kinds of various contraptions. So it was definitely, but with drones though, with the advent of drones, I don't know. I don't think it would be easy for these guys to do that kind of guerrilla warfare again. Um, for sure. But Vietnam, that was a false flag incident. We got drawn into that. So looking into with all this stuff, Nigeria, Venezuela has been the one that's been building up for a while. We could have keep an eye out for America. But the U.S. is going to be. I feel as if you can. It's almost a fact check for real deal. Is that I feel like the U.S. could be attacked in the next few weeks, and it's going to be an attack that's going. They're going to make it look like it's one of these poor ass countries attacking us. I feel it's going to be a world civil war. See, but now if we did have the civil war, I don't know. We'd want to have some drones because I've been seeing videos of these drones that drop napalm into the woods. So anybody out there living out in the woods, surviving out in the woods, uh, you need to check out the drones that they have now. They have drones that they just go out there very small and they'll just spray napalm inside a wood. So you and your mag, you and your group, whatever it may be, whatever you want to call yourself, freedom fighters can be out there in the mountains, deep, thick in the woods, and they send these drones and they're able to get in between the trees and drop this napalm and they're spraying your ass down. That'll be, and this drone warfare is definitely becoming the new conventional warfare. You know, anybody that watches military stuff, anybody that watches and knows about military history, this drone warfare is definitely the next thing. Now, who's to say that this false flag coming up is not going to be connected to the drones? Yeah. These drones play a heavy hand, I believe, in end time prophecies. Like old time prophecies for sure. You made me say a little. So, looking at drones and their abilities, they could be used in a false flag attack. We kind of established that a little bit. So check this out. In the Bible, it says they're going to be locusts with face like men and hands as daggers, things of that nature. In Revelation, come on now. What do these sound like? What do these drones sound like? They're spitting fire out of them. Come on now. Like old. I don't want to say that. I don't know what that is. Jamarake. Hey, man. But yeah, so as we advance further in, so that kind of just tripped me out a little bit. I've never thought about it on that level. The AI, not AI, we'll get into that, but we're still on false flags. But these drones, you feel me, are possibly a precursor to the locusts that are described in the Bible. What up, you doing, fool? What the hell you got going on, cowboy? We're talking about this war in Nigeria and Venezuela that might be coming up, dude. Which we might stomp on him, but I don't know. I think going to war in Nigeria, that might be a little bit more a little bit more hardcore than going to war with like anybody else. You know, or not anybody else in particular, just like with that Argentina, not Venezuela, fucking Nigeria, they seem like, you know, they're third world countries, you know, they've been going through a lot of shit for years. I've been drinking. It's got off of Franklin. I was about to say, who the hell's Franklin? You've been beaten up or what? You fighting Franklin? I'm from Earth. Kajal. You doing anything to clean up over there, dude? You're doing your part to try to make the environment nicer? Clean up the Genghis? Yeah, I'm from Earth. Specifically, though, my quadrant is the Milky Way galaxy. Quadrant 7.3.465. Yeah, I was about to say, don't be coming up here talking about. Yeah. I was like, y'all had one of the oldest cultures and civilizations in the history of the world. Don't let it go to shit now. Yeah. Don't let it. Y'all have one of the most ancient. The Buddha is from your country. Don't let it go to shit. You know. But whenever the so we're talking about false flag attacks. We have It's not outside the realm of. Okay, we'll go back even further. During the Spanish American War, and I think it was off the coast of San. It was either Puerto Rico or Philippines. We ended up taking over both of those places from Spain. Um, but it was all under a false flag attack. I was under McKinley, I believe. I was really never America was really going imperial. It was really an imperialistic United States at that point, which we should be. Manifest destiny has always been our right, really. You know, it's like, yeah, you don't want the world's problems, but we do want the resources. But anyway, with I think it was a Manila incident. I might be wrong, but a U.S. ship. There you go again. This is in the year 1898, blown up off the coast of Manila. U.S. says Spain fired on us. Spain fired on us. Then we go to war with Spain. Then we take Cuba, Puerto Rico, Philippines, a couple other little spots. False flag attack leads to the expansion of the empire. So now, on false flag attacks, it's not outside the realm of aliens, of them to use it, say aliens are attacking us, and then they just wipe India, China, places with high populations off the map. Even little places like in the United States. Let me see what you can say. If each person in India had 4 trash bags, but imagine if each person there actually gave a fuck about other people or about their country or about the world in general. It seems I don't not them as a people. It just seems like almost like a bunch of drones, right? A bunch of what do they call them? Automatons. A bunch of automatons running around. Yeah, this one of my this was a naval pea coat that somebody gave me. One of my friends gave this to me. But this is a Navy pea coat. I didn't earn it that way. It was a gift from somebody. This it's cold as hell. Yeah, and I think that versus dropping it, we shouldn't drop a nuclear weapon on India. We need to drop a giant, just a bunch of like you just liquid soap all over that son of a bitch, and then drop another giant thing of water over it. Maybe drop some of that, some Nair, Nair, the stuff that rips hair off of you. But yeah, these guys, and it's just it's not nobody is there's not it's like it's a false statement to say that anybody has something that's ingrained deep into that's ingrained like nobody there's nothing that I don't truly believe. I think that everything is learned from your culture, but I don't think that things are learned from. I don't think you have like a, let's say, because my ancestors might have been from England. I don't think that all English people have a certain temperament or a certain thing, or I don't think that all people from Nigeria have a certain thing. So if we go over there, it's going to be some rough fighting in Nigeria for sure. Venezuela possibly, but I think it's going to be like Vietnam all over again though for sure. A little guerrilla warfare. They're going to have whorehouses down there in Venezuela. What up, Gnostic? Yeah, I mean, shit, they'll probably be so like defeated by being cleaned up like that they won't want to. They won't want to fight. The crazy thing about India is that before the British came, they had lost pretty much all of their, like the Bhagavad Gita, the Kama Sutra, all those old temples that you see everywhere. That they have all these different animals running around. India had lost all of that, all their culture, all their history. They had lost. They didn't. There was like a bunch of tomb robbers and shit. Like they didn't care about their history. The country is ran by thuggies and ran by these corrupt princes who were selling their artifacts and for profit, and that like they didn't give a fuck about the old languages, Sanskrit and the Bhagavad Gita epics. And like I said, India is very old. It's one of the oldest cultures on earth. Indian, Chinese, Mesopotamian, they all kind of came up at the same time. But without the British, if the English people didn't come over there and kind of take things over, they would have lost all of their culture. The Bhagavad, all of that would have been lost. But here we are, about 60 or 70 years after decolonization of India, and they are all their temples are gone to disrepair once again. Like they don't, I feel like they don't give a fuck about their own history. If you don't care about your own history, if you don't care about your own culture, if you don't care about, if you're just like, they're just automatons. They're a bunch of servitors for sure. They don't, I mean, I'm sure there's some, I've met people that are cool, but they really don't give a fuck. Like, and it makes you, especially here in like the United States, when they start, I don't know. I don't think a foreigner should be allowed to own a business in the U.S. unless they, I don't know. I don't think foreigners should be allowed to own one at all. Yeah, oh, and that little deal. It's crazy though. On Pakistan, and I might be subject to changing my opinion with that. But Pakistan and India, from what I've gathered, all the travelers I see going back and forth across the world, the people in Pakistan, Muslim, yes, but they are way more friendly. What up, Gma? How the heck you doing? Yeah, they're already taking the land from each other, dude. Like, we all know this. We all know, like, but we all know that. Well, before the quote unquote European white man, as they called them, came over and conquered everything here, um, they they pretty much like they had a good sized population. It was, for lack of a better, it was a bunch of it was a Stone Age civilization versus a gunpowder civilization because they were still living like cavemen here, which is nothing wrong with it. But people like the Aztecs or the Incans, they had advanced to a ancient kind of what was already an antiquity to the Europeans. The Mesoamericans had advanced antiquity, or were still in tribal society like how they used to be back in the before the Romans unified everything. There ain't been no EBT looting. Yeah, I've been hearing that there has been a little bit, but you got to remember it's only November 3rd. I will tell you this though. What I've been seeing online though, it said November 3rd is going to be the day. Is November 3rd was going to be? They've been saying November 3rd is going to be the day. Like, get out there and let's go loot all these damn fucking shit. Ooh, So talking about hitting WalMarts up and little grocery store. It's probably gonna attack a lot of local mom, and I guarantee, like they're gonna be looting, but it's gonna be the grocery stores. All this shit's gonna be filled with food still. What they're gonna be missing is TVs and expensive shit like that. They're not gonna be missing food. Pakistan and India make some. Yeah, they're it's Pakistan and India, like it's ancient culture, it's history, it's beautiful. Like there's not gonna be any like they don't, that's what I'm saying. It's like they need to embrace their culture and their history, their traditions again, and I feel like that's what's lost on them. The Great Motivation 47, what are you saying? Pakistani are converted cowards. They were Hindu and they aren't friendly. Foreigners are followed by police guards and they're in Pakistan. Everything is a propaganda. I'm just saying based on some of the videos I've seen. Yeah, and you go to government websites, it'll say Democrats have shut the government down. Yeah, they're all in on it. Of course, it's I don't blame Trump for it. They're all in on this shit, but maybe that's why maybe that's why we need to go ahead and go to war. Maybe we need one. I mean, obviously I don't think so. I'm too old to go for that shit, but um, maybe that's to them and their frame of mind, and the elites. It's the time to start. It's like, oh yeah, your food stamps are ran out, but we'll feed you in the conscripted military. So the food for thought. Dems are the ones shutting down the government. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, how is this gonna work? How do you guys think this Zoltar Mamahadani the New York guy. How do you think that's going to affect the rest of the United States? At least the state of New York, though, because he's talking about all this free stuff. Which, and I hate to say it, we know his background. You know, they are allowed to lie to other people in order to advance their own goals. You know, according to their prophet. Their prophet, there is a religion of peace that allows lying and fuck no. Like if I get some shit for free, it was because one of my the only like one of the, I got some free shit. It was from my a bartending guest of mine I've known for years, and he gave me a box full of a bunch of Nurgle Warhammer figures. Are ghosts real? Good question. And nothing should be free. Why nothing is free really. If the especially if the government's giving you something like, oh, here's some money, here's unemployment, here's disability, here's a COVID check. You know, you're gonna have to pay. They're gonna either tax the absolute fuck out of you or raise the prices of shit in the next coming years. So nothing's free. No, they always get their payback. I don't believe ghosts are real. I don't. I believe that spirits, demons, angels, stuff of that nature, that's real. But I don't believe ghosts are. I don't believe ghosts are. I've had encounters with spirits. I don't believe that ghosts are real, but the spirits I feel like I've had encounters with were like, um, sleep demons and stuff, dream demons, for lack of a term. Um, and I, just go the idea of ghosts. Because I believe, and it says this. You know, I'm not. I'm trying. Let me. Several in the Bible, it also says that once you're dead, it's kind of like you're just sleeping, right? So how can you be brought back to life? And you're how can you be your soul is asleep until Judgment Day is here, and that's what I'm kind of trying to base my beliefs on. Yeah, my little spiritual encounters. I'll tell y'all. I always like to talk about it, but as a sleep paralysis demon. So I was living at a friend's house. I was like 15. So I was in my twin bed right here. My buddy was in his twin bed. All right, and this was like the space in between. And as I was sleeping, I woke up. I just woke up, and I'd woken up and I could feel like a shaking. I was just shaking, and the room was pitch black, dark, really black, and it was also had a vibrational tint around it. Uh, and then I look in the corner, and there's this tall, really tall dude all the way to the ceiling to the corner. Pitch black. Heck yeah, it's cold right now. Pitch black. Uh, Darker, and like I said, the room was black, but this figure was blacker than the room, like a cosmic black, like cosmic evil kind of shit. And his face was solid red with no features. It had like the sockets and the nose and the mouth, but didn't have a hole for any of that shit. What's that, Jane? And then, yeah, I remember this. I was terror. I had the feeling of frozen terror inside me. You feel it was terrible. It was hard, and I remember just looking at it and like it was looking at me, even though I said it didn't have any eyes, it just had the sockets, just like, mm. And I remember I was like, please God, please Jesus, help me. And invoking the name of Jesus, it did in fact help me for sure. But that was, and I looked at apparently all kinds of people see the same thing. All kinds of people see the same guy. I think it's called like the I don't want to say Slender Man. I forgot what it's called. It's yeah, this like slender, tall, like cosmic black horror. This shit was too crazy. But a lot of people will see it. I guess it has to do with stress. Like I had a lot of stress, like a lot of shit going on in my life at that time. Like, um, some people see a big black cat with solid red eyes sitting on their chest and making it feel like they can't breathe. Um, yes, yes, Jesus's name will definitely like. I'm not sitting here trying to like I'm like any example to be as a Christian. or anything like that. But I will tell you this: if you have anything bad going on, Jesus' name will defeat all negative spirits. Ghosts, we ain't dealing with ghosts. We're dealing with angels and demons. This is a true, real deal spiritual warfare for sure. Um, and sleep paralysis is a condition that people can get. It's not like a what do they call it? It's not like it's not like arthritis, but it's more like a headache or something that you can get out of nowhere. Um, So sleep paralysis, a lot of people get this. So science tries to explain it as stress. It can be linked to stress. It can be linked to sleeping with the TV on or something of that nature. I don't know. I believe that it is. It could have been a demon about to really try to get into me for sure. I really believe and the people that don't fight these things off end up getting possessed by one of these demons or having it like you have a piece of its essence in you. But in Jesus' name, I definitely could get got rid of it. I don't necessarily believe nor disbelieve, but I think it was taken advantage. It was taken advantage. I mean, but like that's religion, dude. Like I believe in God. I don't believe in religion. I know people always say this, like, but it's everything. Everything on this earth, any ideology has been used and abused. Buddhists, who are great people, their religion, their history. The Buddha is one of the greatest human beings to ever live. Siddhartha Gautama is one of the greatest men to ever walk this earth. One of the wisest. What up, Muff? But um, he was his teachings have been twisted as well. Like they're peaceful people, yeah. But you got the Tamali Tigers over there in Bangladesh. The Buddhists. They take out murders and genocides against Muslim people and Christians and things of that nature. So all religion. Religion could have been invented by a bunch of old perverts a couple thousand years ago to kind of solidify it. Like, yes, I'm 87 years old. I'm gonna marry this 10-year old. Religion, like, that's how religion was solidified. Like, let me be able to have 10 wives, 13, 14 wives. They're all like 8 whenever I'm 100 years old. That could have been like, but it was always the human. We've always had a connection with God. Human beings, like, since the beginning, since Adam and Eve era, the first man, whatever you want to call it, there's always been a connection with God. Because even like it's like the childlike nature that we have as children. There's always been a connection with God, but that connection has been lost. If you look at the Old Testament with the Israelites, that's a prime. The Israelites, their story in the Old Testament could be parallel to humankind's story. It could be parallel to any person's path story. Because it's you rise and fall. You start off in God's favor. You love God. Everything's going great, and then everything's it's going great, so you kind of start forgetting about God. You stop asking God for stop talking to God. You just stop asking God for help. You just, oh, I got this. And then you had to learn the hard. You go to idolatry. You start idolizing stuff. You start doing stuff. The thought of God is no longer in your head. What up, Teresa? um and so that is kind of like the humankind story. So God has always been there. The connection with God has always been there, but religion, like titles, were added to these things. Different books and things are added. Physical things, anything physical of this world is the devil's. um but we get back, and I'll start it with this. Like, before, the first true organized kind of church deal religion was in Babylon. It was Ceremaius. So in the Bible, it's only mentioned smallly, partly. It's his name is Nimrod. Nimrod, we associate that term with the dumbass, a dipshit, somebody that ain't worth a damn nowadays. But Nimrod, really, it means great hunter in that ancient Akkadian language dialect. So Nimrod, He was out conquering. He was out uniting all the lands. He was a third generation. He was a great grandson of Noah. Nimrod is out there conquering all the land, like uniting everything. Nimrod also starts building the Tower of Babel. He starts building the Tower of Babel with all these conquered people, with all these different people split up who don't speak the same language. He's starting to, or they all were speaking. That's so they everybody, because it was easy for him to go conquer these different nations, kind of put them to work because they could all speak the same language. Um, Nimrod falls in battle. All right, so Nimrod falls in battle, and then Saramaeus, his wife, was cheating on him. And this is in this is support. This is apocrypha, but this is in there. She didn't want nobody to know that she was pregnant because how could she got pregnant whenever the husband was gone to war for the past year? Ceremaeus ends up giving birth to a child. His name is Shammuz. And Shammuz, she says, is Nimrod. Because Nimrod died in battle, he became the sun. He incarnated as the sun in the sky. So then Nimrod impregnated her as the sun, put himself inside of her, and then was reborn as Shammuz. Shammuz is Nimrod. And then she married her own son. And that is the beginning of all of all of the false pagan religions. You got your person who gets cut up in the world is the sun. All this shit is made from their body. You got the ancestral unions between the deities. You got the monaculate births, and that's where all this religion shit started, for sure. Well, Judaism is like that's not a it is a religion, but that's kind of like a like your mom has to be Jewish, I believe, in order for you to be a Jew. Like Lenny Kravitz, his dad is Jewish, but his mom is not, so he's not considered technically a Jew. Whereas Drake, whose mother is Jewish, but his father is like a black guy from Michigan, Drake is considered a Jew. He had his bar mitzvah and all that shit. But yeah, they have their shit. They have their set up in like because Jews are supposed to be they're the priesthood. They're supposed to be like a priesthood to Gentiles. Um, like it's supposed to be like a special bloodline. Because they're just in their mind they're descendants of Abraham. So they want to keep that. It's kind of racist if you think about it. They want to keep their bloodlines pure. Um, kind of deal. But ideally, you could convert to Judaism. There is a process though, like because there's stories in the Old Testament where people convert when the Israelites come and conquer a place, and usually they would just kill everybody in the whole town. Well, see, that's the question, right? That's the question of like who defines racism, who like but the fact if they their thing you can't really touch on like like you can't with them like what defines racism, right? What defines like who was the one that created this shit, right? And it sounds kind of like that was like the beginning of it, right? That sounds like that was truly the first racist thing, right? You're reading the Bible, the Old Testament Israelites go and pretty much commit genocide on the land of Canaan. Which and this is all this shit had to happen though. But this had to happen. The world needed this to happen. Yeah, well, maybe we found the origin of racism for sure. We found the origination of racism, um, and it was connected to religion too, in a way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But then there's a guy. I posted it. I put it on the community page. He got arrested. Not he didn't get arrested, but the police show. He had three state police, Texas state police, show up at his door because he's posting stuff about Israel on his Facebook, and then Next thing you know, they're like, we're here to talk to you about what you posted on Facebook about the Jewish community. Yeah, right. Get the fuck off my yard, motherfucker. See, but that's what I was gonna get at. It's like anybody who's hating on these people. It's not Jewish people are not. They're not. You don't need to be hating on them. Like they ain't like you don't blame. It's not a people. You can't blame a people for like the crimes of their government and of their leaders. A lot of these other countries use Europeans hate Americans, but it's not us. It's fucking the people in charge and shit. Um, and but we shouldn't be hating on other people like French people, whatever the fuck. It's as an example because it's not them. I mean, it's the policies that their government's been putting in place that kind of affect their generations. But yeah, the Canaanites, they are in control because the Israelites, the kings and stuff of ancient Israel, the nobility, the royalty of that time, they always were in bed with Canaanite women, with foreign gods. They kept the Ashraf poles, they kept the Baal, they kept all that stuff, even in secret, because it kind of became like it became like kind of like the Canaanite religion. Even the Roman emperors followed it too. Right, and then Khazaria, yeah, I'm thinking about streaming Crusader Kings 3. Khazaria was a real country that existed, an empire that existed. They were like a Mongolic Turk people, ethnic background, but they had converted to Judaism. So they were like the largest Jewish country that existed forever. And a lot of people, they don't know about Khazaria. I knew that you would know about Khazaria, brother. Well, dude, you consider that if somebody considers you some shit like that here, dude, you know that like that's like they're gonna ear. It's like a life ruiner. But yeah, you can hate on people because of the actions of its government. If that's how shit ran, then the United States, we'd be fucked for sure. Yeah, we'd be fucked for sure. Like everybody, they all think we're a bunch of like just dipshit fat asses, don't know shit. For the most part, they're right, but they ain't no better. They ain't no fucking better. I've been like when I went to Peru, they fucking wasn't all the picture of perfect health and shit themselves, and But what's cool about the United States, for the most part, like you can walk around most places here with your and not have to worry about getting robbed just because. And if a foreigner comes here, they're not gonna have to worry. Like if they come to my town, they're gonna have to worry about getting robbed and attacked. But versus, I went to like one of their cities, so it's food for thought. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they as that Central European connection, right? As a Central European, as a now, do you think that the 13 bloodlines are connected to the Rothschilds? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the media coverage, it's just crazy, dude. It's. I remember whenever I was a kid, like the news was not the way it is today. Mm. No, other I don't see it as I don't believe that it's just a see exactly one brand. See, because I believe that it's like it's a family tree. It's a family whose roots go deep. The roots go deep on this dark satanic black. It's called the Black 13 Black Satanic Bloodlines. And that Canaanite religion, the Khazarian is whatever. I think it's the Luciferianism. The Roman emperors followed this stuff. I believe that whenever they're into J.D. Vance, who went to Yale. We all know Skull and Bones is in Yale. Um, he's getting back on TikTok. Very weird. Bunch of it's all a bunch of what up, Carl? Shit, I'd like to go back to Peru right now with my current style. Last time I went there, I didn't really. I was kind of like nervous for show. over there, them, the police over there, like they can, it's not outside the realm of normal or possibilities for the police to pull you over for just no reason and shit. And just, I remember my father-in-law just gave him some money, and I was like, why the fuck did you give him money? I never found out. Chat, what are y'all getting into? We got we got 10 people. That sounds cool. We got a lot of people that we be seeing. I think Canada needs to thank you. I see we have a couple other new people too, but Cowboy, I've been saying this for the past like week and a half now, dude. Canada needs to overthrow their government, dude. They need to rise up and overthrow their government because they 10 years ago they took their firearms. Fucking 4 or 5 years ago they took their freedom of speech, and now they're taking land from. What is this game? You told me about that the other day. Tell me this game. It's the Baldur's Gate 3. But Canada needs to rise up and overthrow their country for sure. Like, and there should be, during the Spanish Civil War and Ukraine, all this shit, the Kurdish Syrian conflicts, all the ISIS fighting, all that stuff. There were international brigades of people, patriots who believe in freedom, who would go to another country and help out with that revolution. You know, there are people going over people. So people the people who are willing to go to Ukraine and help the Ukrainians fight against Russians, or vice versa, go to Russia and help them fight. Would those same people be willing to go to Canada and to help them overthrow their tyrannical government? Because and this is all GTA 6, Minecraft, but we have a tyrannical government just north of our border who puts its citizens in prison for posting on Facebook. And we've seen that happen here in the United. Not yet, not in prison, but they are visiting people's houses in the U.S. So the yeah, Canada needs to overthrow their government though, for sure. No matter what it takes, no matter what it takes, because they've been they've all been spayed and neutered, over there in Canada. Um, and I doubt they can't even have peaceful assembly. They can't even have. I doubt they can even have a protest in Canada. Like, remember the trucker stuff. Remember all that? They're freezing the truckers' bank accounts. The people that were at these Canada Day protests, they're having all their bank accounts frozen. They're having their jobs, their careers attacked. They're being libeled and slandered against like crazy. Uh, yeah, yeah. Do I think there's any true freedom anywhere anymore? I don't know. Not. I mean, you still got to pay property taxes. You still got to you got to have neighbors, even if you live in a remote area. Like, you're gonna have to deal with. You still got to deal with people. Like the system. Like I've said this constantly, but time and time again, the system. We fight against the system. We live to escape the system, and our goal is to break the system. But the system exists. It has always existed. It will never not exist. Um, so in order, like, our freedom walks, our freedom, especially in today's modern era with drones, with CCTV, the system and our freedom go hand in hand. You have to follow the system. You can you had the system will this you had to go with the system, or the system will roll you over. So no, there ain't no freedom. Mm, mm, yeah. We'll have to dive into that some more. I'll have to dive into that some more. The because they used to have people called Cossacks that lived over there, and they were like basically they were like barbarians. They were like the Cossacks were like basically like they were like nomadic horsemen that still fought on horses and shit, and spears and swords and stuff like that. That the Russians, like the Tsars, would use the Cossacks to go in and terrorize villages of people and shit like that. So there's always been kind of a little animosity between these people. Russia, that's a ethnically diverse country as well. Mm. Guys, I'm gonna have to get off of here. I think I need to do a trash run. I gotta get a shower in, get ready for work. It's cold as hell. Yeah, they did not like Rasputin. The Tsar was still taking advice from Rasputin for military shit. Mm. Well, the question in 1925, you could get they you could get away with robbing banks and shit more back then, and it was more crazy, So, but today, I don't know. You could lead a revolution in 1925. You could be in a revolution in 1925 versus now, and kind of have more of a hope of it succeeding. With that being said, guys, I got to start getting this shower in. I got to get ready, get some shit done, take some trash out to the dump, and go to work. And my game tonight, either gonna do Stellaris. I don't. I need to get. I might go to. I might think about trying to get me a rent own PC. My current PC is chill, but yeah, keep going. We might do either Stellaris or Crusader Kings 3 tonight. But peace.